Giorgio Chiellini has written an autobiography and it is not short on controversies. He goes after a couple former teammates in Mario Balotelli and Felipe Melo. Here's what he had to say about the book in a recent interview. Quote, Balotelli is a negative person with no respect for the group. During the Confederations Cup against Brazil in 2013, he didn't lend a helping hand for anything. He really did deserve a slap. However, there was someone worse, Felipe Melo, really the worst of the worst. For more on this, we bring back Gab Marcotti. We welcome into the show Craig Burley. Gab, what's the response been in Italy to what Chiellini's had to say?
Well, we've had the response from Balotelli and Felipe Melo. We've had the two of them come back at him. Neither one best pleased. I think the Balotelli stuff is to do with 2013 and also, of course, 2014 World Cup, where there was a lot of fallout in the squad. Felipe Melo basically came out and said, well, Chiellini's soft, essentially, he's a big baby. And I think I'm kind of surprised that Chiellini would come out with something like this because, everybody talks about, oh, look, he's this great old defender and he's so wise and he's so intelligent. Well, fact of the matter is, Chiellini is an Italian international. He hasn't retired from the game yet. Balotelli may or may not be back in the Italy squad. To go and have a pop at him like this just seems, frankly, entirely gratuitous. Just like going after Felipe Melo. At least maybe, wait until you're out of the game before you start with this kind of business. Also, going and targeting two guys who, frankly, very few people seem to like and have targeted in the past doesn't really take a big man.
Craig, what do you make not just what of Chiellini says, but also the timing of it to release this before he's done with his playing days?
Yeah, it does seem a bit strange, but off the top of my head, I can't remember many, if any, who have done it. There may be some. As you're probably unsurprisingly, that I don't pay much attention to football books because I don't read them, anything about footballers. But that being said, I don't really have a massive issue because you make your bed and you lie on it. And so clearly, if a current player writes a book and you're a teammate or a potential teammate or have been a teammate, then the first thing you're going to ask is, what does he say about me? And if he's being negative about an individual, then you're going to make a decision on how you respond to it. The two players that have been mentioned have responded in kind somewhat at the moment. But that's ultimately what it comes down to, whether you've been mentioned in the book or not. Look, it is a little bit, surprising that he does it now. But at the end of the day, as I say, he's made his bed. And he'll have to line that with the decisions he's made to put in the book.
Craig, in the book, Chiellini says that he went to management about Felipe Melo. How do you feel about a player going to management about another player? Is that crossing the line?
Well, I would like to think that they have had words previous to any player going to management to try and sort whatever the problem was before you take that next step. Look, there are always bad apples in dressing rooms, and senior players usually have to try and weed them out and help them and straighten them out. And if that doesn't happen, management has to do something about it, and it can cause a problem. But at the end of the day, Chiellini's doing what he's doing. Is it ideal? No. But ultimately, as I keep going back to this point, he's written a book. What can't speak can't lie, and he's going to have to take the criticism that comes his way because of that. That's the bottom line.
Gab, you mentioned the response from Balotelli. I'll read it to you here. Quote, at least I have the honesty and courage to say things to people's faces. You had so many opportunities to do that since 2013, to behave like a real man, but you didn't do it. Who knows what you'll say one day about your current teammates, you strange captain. If this means being a champion, then I prefer not to be one. And I never showed a lack of respect towards the Azzurri jersey. Gab, what are the odds that Chiellini ends up being the bad guy in all this?
I mean, look, the fact with Chiellini is that because he's obviously an intelligent guy, he's one of those footballers the media absolutely loves because, he speaks in complete sentences and he has a university degree. But I just think this is really irresponsible. I mean, look, Balotelli's, everybody knows what he's done in his career. Everybody knows the issues that he's had. Everybody knows about the meltdown at 2014 within the squad, and unless you were a part of it, you're not going to know exactly who was to blame. I mean, clearly Chiellini wasn't the one who got the blame. Balotelli did. But that said, there's a lot of opportunities where you can go and deal with this. And there's one other factor in this too. Chiellini wears a million different hats. He also happens to be on the national board of the Italian Players Union. Balotelli, I presume, is a member of the union. He's got a representative role as well. Now, if you don't want to have a representative role, if you just want to be, the guy who sits in the corner and doesn't take official roles and just, speaks his mind all the time, hey, that's fine. But you can't have both roles. You can't be on the board of a union that's supposed to look out for players, all players, including Balotelli, and then go and decide I'm going to make a few bucks by going and ripping this guy who gets ripped all the time anyway, like Felipe Melo, I might add, and do it in a book. And at the same time, I'm going to be, the guy sticking up for footballers, all footballers, because I sit on the union. I don't think he's thought this through, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't think Chiellini comes out of this looking very sharp at all.
Craig, as a teammate, would you trust Chiellini after this book has come out?
Look, I've had many teammates that may or may not write a book. Some may have. It's part and parcel. Just because he's done it now doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to go and write a warts and all book, 5 years down the line. So, yeah, it is what it is. If I go to bed at night worrying about all the guys that I played with, whether they'll write a book or not, and whether I'll be in that book and whether it'll be positive or negative, I might as well not get out of bed in the morning. So, as I say, he's made his bed. He can lie on it. It doesn't seem like an ideal scenario for me from a current player. But what do we want him to do? If he's writing a book, he's writing it. Do we want him to write a boring book? If he's decided to do it, do we want him to tell the stories or not? That's the bottom line here. I really, as I say, unless you're an individual that's involved in Chiellini's book, I really wouldn't be batting an eyelid at it.
Thanks, guys. Great stuff. If you want more from Gab, make sure to check out this week's edition of the Gab and Jules podcast. Drops every Monday over on the website.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.